Half-Life is a worldwide phenomenon, but Valve Software isn't done yet. Development on Half-Life 2 starts in 1998.
There was a meeting early on with the Half-Life 2 team where I said, you don't have to worry about how long it's going to take. You don't have to worry about how much money you're going to spend. The only thing you have to worry about is making it the best game of all time.
Here in the art war room, as we call it, the artists went out on location to find a lot of references for Half-Life 2.
Half-Life 2 will take full advantage of all the latest technological innovations.
In Half-Life 2, the technologies in the source engine really grew out of our desire to create these things when we were working on Half-Life.
And we've really gotten to a point now where we can do pretty much whatever we want to with animation, with modeling, so that the shortcomings that people were working in the game industry before aren't acceptable anymore. So we're having to hire a lot of people from the film industry.
It's just amazing now that what we can do. We can have scenes where people animate and respond.
Don't drink the water. They put something in it.
The player can be any location in the room and the characters will still play out their scene and animate toward him, gesture at the player, look at the player, follow him.
Cover me, Gordon!
All the time while revealing bits of the story.
This is how it always starts. First the building, then the whole block.
We found that we needed to really make much stronger demands on our voice actors and go to some traditional Hollywood actors to get the level of acting that we wanted to have.
Are you sure you don't want me to swap out the polarizer?
When we started to get these great animators working on the game, we realized how much farther we could bring our acting.
The inspiration for our facial animation system was the work of Dr. Paul Ekman. He's a researcher that came up with a catalog of facial movements and the expressions. So we went to his system and came up with a set of 34 different facial muscle groups that we modeled on all of our characters that can then be animated so that you get very realistic facial expressions and the face is always in motion.
The differences between animating for film and for games is mainly in games you don't have close-ups and such like that.
What a director does when they're blocking out a movie, they're like, this actor needs to move here and deliver this line and look at this other actor.
Which in film, you know exactly, what angle you're animating for, and in games you have no idea, especially for Half-Life 2. It's all an interactive experience. We don't go to cutscenes or anything like that. Our camera is constantly moving because it's the player.
To get the player to have an emotional reaction, these characters are really like acting out a scene.
So all our animations, gestures and movements need to be more broad so that they can read from almost any angle.
The same amount of detail that goes into creating the character models
also goes into creating the characters' personalities.
We found that players really got emotionally attached to our characters, and so we made a huge investment in character acting.
Remember when we thought Black Mesa was as bad as it could get?
We had to come up with very solid personalities and characterizations for the characters so we could stay with that.
I can't take it anymore.
We created character profiles for all of the major characters and went through a deep series of questions like about their heritage, where they were born, what their parents were like, their religion, sexual preferences, etc. We'd go through this litany of questions so that we'd really get a pretty good feel for who the character was. And then we tried to find the face that worked with that, and then it really gave us a great grounding for casting the voice because we really knew who the person was.
Pay attention, Mr. Freeman.
While Valve works on making Half-Life 2, the public is kept in the dark.
So we kept waiting until they finally were able to show something, showed some technology of what they were working on.
It's not until E3 2003 that Half-Life is finally revealed to the world.
The reaction we got when we first showed Half-Life 2 at E3 was tremendous.
Right off the bat, it was like, oh, wow, look at that. People instantly start planning the upgrade of their PCs.
It was just great for the whole team to know how much the audience out there was waiting for this game and how excited they were with just the pieces that we showed.
When we initially announced the game, we also were pretty bold about announcing a release date.
Gabe Newell walks into the room, sits down and said, Half-Life 2 is coming out on September 30th. Really? Is it? No, say it ain't so.
And we also said, surprise, you haven't heard about it until now, and you're going to be able to be playing it in just a few months.
Well, as it turns out, it wasn't so, and a year later, it's just about heading out.
I'd like to thank you all for coming. When the game's out, I hope you enjoy it.
The anticipation for that one game is just absolutely incredible.
Half-Life 2 is a huge hit at E3, and Valve is riding high. But in just a few months, everything will come crashing down.